Good evening. It's Monday, October 6th. I'm Laura Cornfield, and this is IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. The Swedish ambassador to Israel reported to the foreign ministry for a dressing down as Israel expressed its displeasure with the announcement by Sweden's newly elected prime minister of plans to recognize a Palestinian state. After driving up in his Volvo, the Swedish ambassador to Israel, Carl Mangus Nesser, reported to the head of the European desk of Yves Chiron, where he was told that Israel was disappointed with Stockholm's position. Chiron told the ambassador that the Swedish government's position damaged relations between Israel and the Palestinians. It also reduced chances of reaching an agreement since it created unrealistic expectations that the Palestinians can reach their goals by unilateral methods rather than negotiations. Chiron also told Ambassador Nesser Prime Minister Stefan Löfven's decision to focus on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict at a time when countries in the Middle East are in chaos was astonishing and improper. The ambassador promised to relay these comments to his government. Speaking before his meeting with the foreign ministry, Ambassador Nesser said that his prime minister's comments were misunderstood.
The announcement follows, of course, the election, where the Social Democratic Party has now the prime ministership and where the foreign minister is from the Social Democratic Party. As part of their election platform, they promised that if they win the elections, they would recognize the state of Palestine, and this is exactly what they said on Friday that they would do.
But should Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state?
I think what we have said is that the negotiations, of course, will be held within the framework of the positions of the respective parties. This is something that, of course, the negotiations will determine. It's not for us to say.
The impression is that your last announcement this afternoon was a little bit more balanced. Is it because the Israeli pressure on you?
I think what we would like to say is that we have not changed anything. The statement by the Prime Minister made on Friday was very clear. It's clear today. We have not changed anything. We distributed it in Hebrew. Someone misunderstood it, but it's the same statement. And the statement is, of course, to recognize within the near future the state of Palestine in furtherance of a peaceful settlement of the Palestine-Israel conflict.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu slammed Sweden's announcement that it will recognize a Palestinian state. Netanyahu said that unilateral steps are in contradiction to past agreements and do not contribute to peace, but rather distance it. In his continuing media blitz to U.S. networks, Netanyahu told CNN that Iran and ISIS both contain great dangers and told CBS that condemnation of housing in Jerusalem is anti-peace and not the American way.
There is also talk that you may be getting ready to build a larger group of settlements.
It's not a settlement. These are neighborhoods of Jerusalem. I think anybody who visited my office, I think you came to my office. This is 3 minutes from my office. This is just a neighborhood in Jerusalem. And in this neighborhood that is now being planned, there are about, I think, 2,400 units. What they didn't tell you is that 700 of those units are designated for the Arab residents of Jerusalem. They need housing. The Jewish residents of Jerusalem need housing. Why shouldn't it be? What is this affront to peace? Why can't Jews and Arabs live together? What is this enforced separation? I think actually this whole line that says that Jews cannot buy apartments in Jerusalem, you know, the capital of the Jewish people for the last 3,000 years since King David, or you cannot have mixed housing projects for Jews and Arabs. I think this is anti-peace. I think condemning it is wrong. And I'm frankly baffled. I think it's not the American way.
You have very good intelligence. What is your assessment of the strength of ISIS?
Well, several tens of thousands by now. It's growing by day because they've got about 2 million petrodollars revenue a day. They're augmenting their territory. The strength of ISIS is the strength of terror and fear. You don't have to be that large. There were times in history where small bands conquered all of Asia just by galloping on horses and beheading people and instilling terror in the hearts of millions. And that is the strength of ISIS. fervent fanatic ideology and the willingness to have to kill anybody for its realization.
When we look at what is going on in the Middle East, when you look at Syria and Iraq, what does it mean for Israel? Because at one level, I wonder, you've got the Iranians tied up in supporting the Syrian regime. You've got Hezbollah forces tied up in dealing with it. All your enemies are fighting with one another. Is this good for you or bad for you?
Well, when your enemies are fighting each other, don't support one or the other. Weaken both. That means that we fully support President Obama's goal to defeat ISIS, but we also believe that you should prevent Iran from becoming a threshold nuclear power, to prevent it from having the capacity to enrich enough uranium for the bomb in short order. So I think these are the twin goals that I have as the Prime Minister of Israel, but I find not only that I have them, that many, if not all of the Arab states, except Assad in Syria, everybody shares those views.
Turning to the battlefield in Syria, where 10 Hezbollah fighters were reportedly killed in clashes with al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front gunmen in eastern Lebanon. According to reports from Lebanon, hundreds of fighters from the Nusra Front attacked several Hezbollah bases along a mountainous range near the Syrian-Lebanese border. There are also casualties inside Turkey along the Syrian border. At least 5 Turks were wounded when errant shells fired between ISIS forces and Kurdish troops slammed into a house across the Syrian border. Kurdish forces continue fighting fanatic Islamists to seize control of the town of Kobani. ISIS is trying to capture Kobani and consolidate its hold on a stretch of territory across northern Syria and Iraq. Israel is going private. The socio-economic cabinet, headed by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has approved a 20 billion shekel privatization plan. Within 3 years, the government plans to issue minority shares on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange in state-owned companies. The Finance Ministry initiated the proposal, which aims to use the extra funds to trip the national debt. Among the companies slated for privatization are the Ports Authority, Israel Railways, the national water carrier Mekorot, the Israel Electric Company, the National Gas Works, and defense contractors. According to the Finance Ministry, the move would bring in a revenue of 15 billion shekels to the Treasury coffers. Finance Minister Yair Lapid said the reform is another step in reducing the political influence and corruption in government companies. Workers at the Haifa port have embarked on an immediate general strike in protest of their planned privatization, demanding the government conduct direct negotiations with them to resolve the issue of their job security. The Israeli society cannot absorb infiltrators, and we must not accept the High Court decision on the matter as final. That's a word from Interior Minister Gideon Sa'ar, who told the Knesset Internal Affairs Committee that the phenomenon of illegal immigration is a lurking danger, and there must be a new law put in place to replace the Infiltration Prevention Act, which was shot down by the Supreme Court 2 weeks ago, and which ruled that the open detention facility used to house asylum seekers must be closed within 90 days. Last night, residents of South Tel Aviv staged a protest against the High Court decision, striking down the infiltrator law. Marching with black flags, the protesters told Arutz Sheva that the court has left them defenseless to live with tens of thousands of illegal migrants, making their neighborhoods unsafe.
Today we're doing the Black Flag Parade, which is the cry of the victims. We're basically saying that the black flag that the Bagatz judges have put up to say that the South Tel Aviv country does not longer consider to be a normal area, we're basically saying, okay, if you're putting a black flag against us and that there's no entrance to the neighborhood and the crimes will continue there, then we will take the Israeli flag down and we'll put the black flag that Bagatz judges has put on us, and we will continue to fight for our houses and for our dignity and for our basic right to live in safety. So we're going today with the black flags to say no more the dictatorship of the Bagatz that are in under cover of democratic. We will not let them make the decision about the way that we will live, which they know nothing about.
Israel has joined world efforts to combat the deadly Ebola virus prevalent in some Western African countries. The Foreign Ministry is set to dispatch mobile clinics, and the non-governmental organization Israel has already sent teams to Sierra Leone. IBA's Margot Dudkevich reports.
3 mobile clinics staffed by Israeli doctors and nurses will be dispatched to 3 Western African countries to train local health workers how to deal with the deadly Ebola virus and prevent it from spreading.
Well, basically in response to requests that we've received in the past weeks, starting from the UN Secretary General, the Executive Director of the World Health Organization, the American administration, the British government and other friendly governments as well, and especially from African governments from areas affected by the Ebola, we've decided to send out 3 mobile emergency anti-Ebola clinics, which are Israeli built. They're modular clinics, and they will be established in the peripheral countries surrounding the immediately affected countries with Ebola. And the idea is by that to assist in preventing the spread of Ebola outside of the stricken countries at the moment. Actually, in discussions at the moment with the governments of several countries, I wouldn't like to mention those countries until it's final, but at the end of the day, we'll be sending to 3 countries in West Africa. As we speak, we are preparing these clinics to be sent out, and since they'll be sent out by sea, because they're quite large, I assume that sometime in November they'll hit the ground together with the Israeli teams.
Haskel, who heads the Foreign Ministry's Israel Agency for International Aid and Cooperation, said 3 weeks ago an Israeli team of doctors and aid workers visited Cameroon, a place where the virus has not yet spread to.
We made 3 months ago a health project to vaccinate 5,000 refugee children in the refugee camp in Gadou. Since then, we have a good cooperation with the World Health Organization. And they inform me all the time about the preparation here regarding the Ebola. And on the same time, we got an offer from Israel to present for the Minister of Health here that Israel ready to assist in training regarding the Ebola.
Meanwhile, IsraAid, a non-profit Israeli organization which provides life-saving disaster relief and humanitarian and medical aid to many countries in the world, has teams operating in Sierra Leone. Their goal is to teach the local population about health awareness and how to combat the deadly disease. So far this year, the deadly Ebola virus has been detected in Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia and Nigeria, and has claimed the lives of more than 3,400 people, with an additional 7,157 suspected cases identified. An isolated case was also detected in the United States, and several foreign aid workers from Europe and other countries also contracted the disease. In Liberia, international humanitarian organizations have sent tons of supplies to help fight the disease that has claimed more than 2,000 lives in the country since March. In Sierra Leone, World Health Organization teams are training local health workers, stressing to them the importance of using protective equipment when dealing with Ebola-diagnosed patients.
Far too many people have died already, and some will die tomorrow. And we need to do everything we can to stop that from happening as fast as we can. And the faster we can act, together, collectively, UNMIR cannot do it alone. No government or organization can. But the faster we act, the more lives we can save.
The fear is that people from Ebola-affected Western African countries who unknowingly contracted the disease may spread it to other parts of the globe when traveling abroad. Margot Dudkevich, IBA News.
Back here at home, sanctions continue at the Postal Authority. Today it was the turn of Israel's Debt Collection Authority to halt work in solidarity with the postal workers. Also carrying out sanctions were customs services at both the Haifa and Ashdod ports. Meanwhile, Israel postal employees continued their sanctions, refusing to process packages from abroad, deliver registered mail, transfer vehicle ownership, nor receive payments for court, police, or local authority fines. European champions Maccabi Tel Aviv lost to the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers in an international exhibition game last night in Cleveland, but the story wasn't the game, but who was coaching Cleveland. IBA's Eli Wogelanter explains.
It was just an exhibition game, but not for the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. David Blatt admitted that he was nervous ahead of the match because he was coaching against Maccabi Tel Aviv, the team he led to an unforgettable EuroLeague triumph earlier this year. Blatt left Maccabi this summer for a dream job in the NBA, becoming the first coach to make the leap from Europe to the NBA as a head coach. Cleveland star LeBron James, himself returning for his first game back in a Cavs uniform, said it was clear to the team that Blatt had mixed emotions before the contest.
Absolutely. He was, you could tell he was very either nervous, excited, kind of uptight, even, rightfully so. He got a lot of ties to that team, a lot of ties to that community, to that city, to that country. And for him to be first real game, well, preseason game, to go against his former team, I bet it was a lot on him. I don't know how much he might have slept last night, but for us as players, we just tried to play as best we could for him, and he was very excited after the game.
Despite seeing his Cavaliers rout Maccabi 107-80, Blatt admitted that he didn't feel like a winner, saying, if you have a brother and you go to play outside on a basketball court, you're dying to beat him, but if you do, you feel like crap. It doesn't make you feel good. There was no way to really win that game. I just hoped that we could have a good match.
First of all, thank you guys. That was they were missing a couple of players, but that was my old team, and I appreciate you guys bailing me out today. Honestly, after the Final Four championship that we won last year, we got a box of Snickers and a Coke. That was it. We didn't get this. And we just won a practice game. You guys are living right. I got that. Living right. Anyways, guys, much better job defensively in the second half. Much better. And, maybe we cleaned up a few things just because we were having such trouble and we recognized what we had to do. We got more aggressive. And that makes a difference. Got a lot of work to do, guys. We know it, right? We know it. We got a lot of work to do. And we'll do it.
Maccabi will continue its preseason NBA tour when it faces the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow night before returning to Israel. Eli Wogelanter, IBA News.
Staying with basketball, and it was an exciting night at Romema Arena in Haifa last night, where some 3,500 fans watched Hapoel Jerusalem crush Maccabi Haifa 76-58 in the first league game of the season. Coach Danny Franco and all-star player Dante Smith came back to the northern city after both changed into red uniforms and are now in the Hapoel Jerusalem squad. It was a poor showing for the hosts, who lost an early lead, and things just went south from there. Top scorers from the Capital Hoopsters was Bracy Wright, who told Israel Television sports reporter Lian Vildau that this is just the beginning.
Fortunately, it was a really strong second half for us, and that was really important in this game.
And you made a point for an opening season game.
I think it's just the point, that we come out and play strong every night, but definitely, you want to open the first game of the season in a strong way, in a positive way, and I think we did that.
What can you tell us about the difference from last year, about the squad, personality of players?
To be honest, man, I really think it's still too early to really make judgment, but, this year's team, we have obviously a lot of weapons, same as last year, so, we have to, get some time with this team, and then we can see.
The Jewish festival of Sukkot begins this week, and local markets are packed with those purchasing the 4 species used during holiday rituals and setting up modest temporary hut-like structures known as Sukkot. But a select few visitors can afford to spend tens of thousands of dollars for luxurious Sukkot in 5-star hotels. IBA's Ari O'Sullivan visited one of these exclusive Sukkot and filed this report.
It's a million-shekel view, and there are those who are willing to pay for it. The Inbal Hotel in Jerusalem has capitalized on the upscale market for wealthy tourists to spend Sukkot in the holy city in style. They've taken their suites with their magnificent terraces and turned them into luxury, designer-decorated Sukkot, added on a 5-star service and kosher meals, and offer a holiday package for the rich and pious. The price tag, some $50,000 for a family for the week. And the presidential suite, well, that'll cost you 3 times that.
having private sukkot, which is a unique thing for the Inbal Hotel. People are coming with their families, which everyone is living somewhere else, and they're sitting together in Jerusalem in a 5-star hotel, enjoying the luxuries of a sukkah in Jerusalem.
What's the added benefit that Inbal gives to a family that wants to come to Jerusalem? What do you get extra here?
Well, they're going to get everything really they want, luxurious-wise, food-wise, enjoy between, I would say, 7 to 10 days with the family in the hotel, in their private sukkah, having private meals, having waiters coming and serving them the meals. The design of the sukkah is going to be tailor-made. We're sitting with them, understanding what their needs are. Some want to sleep in the sukkah, some people want to eat in the sukkah. So we're going to have a special kitchen, giving them the food, which is going to be a gourmet food at the sukkah.
Sukkot is the biblical holiday commemorating God's protection of the Jewish people during the 40 years of wandering from Egypt to the Promised Land. Dining and sleeping in the Sukkot booths is supposed to remind us of those austere days. But today, some prefer to do it in luxury. Aryeh O'Sullivan for IBA News.
Just a short time ago, the second Formula Jerusalem got underway. Formula One race cars designed by the world's leading engineers are making their way around the capital, fascinating spectators and frustrating local drivers caught in the gridlock. More than 600 police officers and 400 private guards have been deployed across the city to secure the event. The route of the Formula One Peace Roadshow includes the old train station, Liberty Bell Park, King David Street, with streets closed all along the route. If you don't get a glimpse at the impressive roadshow today, no worries, you still have tomorrow. 6 swimmers, 6 days, 400 kilometers. That's the goal of this Israeli team, who are trying to set up a new Guinness World Record. The route, Cyprus to Israel. The group dived into the open waters of the Mediterranean Sea for their second attempt at the record. They failed in their first attempt last year after harsh weather conditions made them throw in the towel. They say they are better trained this time. So far, the swimmers are enjoying comfortable water temperatures, and they're optimistic about their chances of making it all the way to the Israeli shores. Taking a look at local finance, and the shekel was mixed in foreign currency trading, while share prices on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange were down. Here's a look at the late afternoon numbers. Turning to the weather, and another rise in temperatures tomorrow, making it warmer than normal for the season. Here are the highs and lows for the next 24 hours. And that's all for this.